I wrote a blog called Fucking in Brooklyn for a decade. No, excuse me. I wrote it for 3 years, but I wrote it a decade ago. I started in 2009 after the worst heartbreak of my life. I had this thing where
question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but was the worst heartbreak of your life your divorce, or was it?
No.
Okay.
Divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay.
My marriage was a disaster.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I needed to clarify that just for like people listening at home, because like a lot of people would assume that like the breaking up of a marriage is like the worst thing that can happen.
Divorce was great.
Did you have a party afterwards? Did you consider it?
I was homeless for 3 months afterwards.
Okay, all right.
Which is not a party.
No, that's not a party.
I met Liz at 20. Knew her for a year. Dated for 4 years. Engaged for a year. Married for 4 years. A month into being married, she became physically abusive. In 4 years of marriage, I was punched, kicked in my face. She'd break my shit.
Wow.
And Christmas Eve, 1997, I had been sleeping on the couch for 6 months. We'd been in therapy for 8 months. She comes to me and she goes, "You need to find somewhere else to spend the night." On Christmas Eve.
What the fuck?
So I slept in my car. I come back 2 days later and I go, I am not happy. And this is not what I thought married life was going to be like. And it's not how I want to spend the rest of my life. And I'm only here right now having this conversation out of a sense of greater moral obligation, because we stood in front of God and witnesses and we said, I do. And I don't want to do this anymore. And she looked at me and she said, if that's how you really feel, you can get yourself and get the hell out right now.
Okay.
And I got a hefty bag and a laundry bag in my closet I could carry, and I was gone. So no, my marriage ending was the best thing that ever happened to me. That was not the worst heartbreak of my life. The worst heartbreak of my life was a full decade after.
Wow.
And that is what led you to writing the blog.
So here's the thing. When my marriage ended, I really wanted to catch up on all the sex that I hadn't been having.
Yep. I was gonna say, like, if you were in a sexless marriage,
it was like 1998 in New York City, and I was an underwear model. I was like, how much catching up can I do?
Okay, so but the question is, like, do you still have some pictures? Because like, I would happily link some pictures of you from the 90s. Just to be clear, in present day, you're in really fucking great shape. So like, you in the 90s, like.
I posed for Playgirl. It was never published. It wasn't published because after I saw the pictures, I was like, I can never have my mom find out about this.
Yeah.
And not that my mom meets Playgirl, but she would have known.
First of all, it's a Caribbean woman. Of course she would have motherfucking known. She would have found out. Do you know how deep that grapevine goes? Like, I go down to Belize once, and like, as I'm leaving Belize, the woman who's checking my passport as I'm leaving Belize looks at my last name and goes, "Oh, are you from Belize?" And I was like, "No, but my family is. This is my first time in the country." She's like, "Oh, I know your family. They're good people. Beautiful, big family." And I'm like, son of a fuck. I can't be nowhere in this country.
Nah, my mom is force sensitive. If it had been published, I'd have went to visit and she'd have been, "What did you do, my son?"
Yo,
I sense a disturbance in the force. So yes, I will send you those pictures. They're tasteful.
Perfect. We'll put them up on the blog.
But yeah, in 10 years, between 30 and 40, I went on about 2,000 dates.
Wow.
Yo, make up for lost time.
Yo, I didn't have 2,000 partners, to be clear.
Okay.
For 2,000 dates, that's a lot of work.
Yo, I had a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night date. I took Fridays off to hang out with my cat.
That's a lot of money.
And then, no, it's not. Here's the thing, right?
All right.
I figured it out.
Teach a kid over here.
Because this is like the baby dating.
Dessert date is the deal.
Ooh, dessert dates are great.
No one says no to dessert.
That's accurate.
It's low commitment. Everyone likes dessert.
And I'm in a better mood when you.
It does not cost you a lot of money.
Yep.
I had one spot, La Lanterna di Vittorio. It's on McDougal or for West 3rd.
And you took every girl to the same spot?
I went on 1,000 first dates.
At this same spot?
Yes.
And they knew you. And they were like, here comes Jack from Brooklyn with another girl.
I had been going this since I was 13.
Oh my
The owner was a buddy of mine. Vittorio knew me. So like I would cook, and he always knew. Like I'd walk in and meet Jock. How are you? What'd you have tonight? I was like, Vito. I always have the same thing. I get pecan pie with a scoop of ice cream and hot apple cider. And he go, no, Jack, what you had? Blonde, brunette, redhead? I'll never forget. There was this one time I was at La Lanterna di Vittorio. It's been there for ages. And I'm with this woman. We're having a nice time. And she says to me, how do you know this place? And I go, oh, I've been coming here since I was 13. And she goes, this is your first date place, isn't it? You take all your first dates here, don't you?
Yo, why is she about that jealousy like that? Fucking
but she called it out that quick.
I mean,
but check it. I said, the proprietor's sitting right here. Why don't you ask him? And Vito was sitting right there. So she taps Vito on the throat. She goes, excuse me. Are you the owner of this establishment? And Vittorio, he's this statuesque, older Italian gentleman, like a lifetime of stinky cheese and air-dried meats.
And lots of red wine.
Yes. How may I be of service to you? And she, without looking at me, she points to me. She goes, do you know this man? Oh, yes, Jack. I've known him for many years. Does he bring all of his first dates here? And he looks at her, looks at me, and he goes, I must admit, Jack has brought many, many women here, but you are by far the most beautiful.
Yo, I can't stand it. Let's talk about the perfect fucking wingman right now.
Good save, Vito.
You know what? Honestly, I appreciate this man. This man deserves an extra bottle of wine and a round of applause. That is a beautiful save. Like, yo, all right, you know, I got to give it to him.
But yeah, from 30 to 40, I went on at least 2,000 dates. And then
that was like pre-dating apps. So like, how did you find all of these women?
This is New York City. You kidding me? Beautiful women are everywhere.
Okay, but that's accurate. But how did you get these beautiful women to talk to you? Because like, as a woman that's like trying to talk to these beautiful women, and like, if you're listening and you're a pretty girl, can you please holler at me? But like, how do you get these pretty women to like stop and talk to you besides being super hot? Because like, I would like to know your secrets. I'm sure John would appreciate them too.
I do not have a predatory aura.
Where were you meeting most of these women?
Everywhere. You walk down the street in New York City is full of women.
So it was like a full-time job for you that when you saw a beautiful woman, you reached out to them, you connected with them, you asked for their number. It wasn't
as much a full-time job. It was like, I'm here and I'm alive. Why should I pass up on this opportunity?
What are like the logistics of it? You're like, you asked them for the number. Like, how did that work?
Are you
in that
giving
era?
your number out to them?
There was no Instagram. There was no smartphone. Like what are we talking about?
Meeting women, if you're not an asshole, is the easiest thing to do.
It's one thing to meet somebody though, but like, how are you making connections? How are you getting there? Like going on a date with them? Like what? How did you work out the logistics? How did you even find out how to get to a place when they didn't have GPS? Like what era are we talking about here? What year was this?
Like the 90s.
This is not that difficult.
The 90s, early 2000s.
This is not that difficult.
Like, I mean, but also if you know New York City and you're born and raised in New York City, it's pretty.
That was a joke. How do you do the logistics?
I'll give you two examples off the top of my head. I was coming home from hanging out with my niece, and I was at West 4th Station, and I see this woman, and she's beautiful, and I walk up to her and I say, "Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. I know you're busy. You're beautiful. I'd love to get to know you. Can you please give me a number? We'll talk later. I'm here with my niece and I can't talk right now." She gives me her number, right? I get to work because I'm working night shift. And I realize that she's giving me 6 of 7 digits.
Yeah.
So I dialed
10 times.
46 different numbers.
Wow.
Before I got her number right. And she was like, "Hey, what's going on? What took you so long?" I was like, "Okay, what's going on? How you feel?"
So it wasn't intentional. It
was completely accidental, but like it was easy. "Hi, my name is Jack. I want to get to know you. Here's another example. And this one actually changed everything for me. This has got to be like 2002 or 3.
Okay.
I'm walking down Fifth Avenue in the 50s. This woman barrels out of Saks with shopping bags in both hands, almost knocks me over. And I catch just a glimpse of her eyes over her oversized sunglasses. She has aquamarine eyes. And like I could hear the music going off in my head. I could hear the drums. So I do the thing that you're never supposed to do. I run down the street and I catch up to her. And I go, listen, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't mean to disturb you. I know you're busy. I know you're carrying stuff. You just come out of Saks. You almost knocked me over. I need to know if you're in love with anybody right now. I said, obviously you're dating somebody or somebody thinks you're dating you. But if you're not in love with somebody, I need to talk to you. Give me your phone number. She looked at me. 917.
Yo! Honestly, you know what? I appreciate that game. Like, that's the strongest game I think I've ever heard. Like, are you in love with somebody right now? Because, like, it's one thing to be like, where your man at? Is he strong? Is he big? Is he coming back? Is he gonna get you Mike and Ike's?
But let me tell you the rest of the story just so I can tell you how that went. Because it changed me, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was beautiful and smart and nimbly aerobic.
Hey.
And thoroughly uninteresting.
Do you ever feel bad when you go to all that effort, you make somebody feel like this is a really special thing? Because what you're doing is special. You're giving them a special experience, and then they end up being uninteresting. And then what do? You just walk.
Let me tell you how it played out. Right. So she was a buyer for one of the major retailers in New York. And like she was legit smart, but all she ever wanted to talk about was shopping.
Oh my God, that's so infuriating.
And I was like,
I literally, like, my brain has already shut off talking about the idea of talking about shopping.
If I had been a vet with tinnitus, it'd have been a perfect relationship.
Yep.
But listening to her talk made me want to stab myself in the eardrums.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
ice pick in the eardrums.
She was a good person. She was a sweet person.
Mm-hmm.
But like 99% of her conversation was centered around shopping, and it was so uninteresting for me. And I'll never forget, we were in bed one night after several hours of aerobics, and she starts talking about this shoe sale that's about to happen. It's 2:00 in the morning.
Yo.
And she's going on and like, I did one of these. And she looked at me. It's 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, am I boring you?
Yes, the actual answer is yes, you're fucking boring the shit out of me.
I said, no. Please continue with the blatherskite.
Yep.
How'd that play out?
Well, her mouth was open, but there was no sound coming out.
Because, like, what do you say to that?
So it ended.
Shocking.
But you know, she was still legitimately a sweet person, and she asked me a few weeks after it ended, like, what went wrong? And I was honest with her. I said to her, listen, you're an amazing person, but you're not for me. From the moment I saw you, like, I heard drums. I hear them right now. And everything in my loins is telling me that I should not walk away from you. But I need more than percussion. I want horns and strings and
I want the whole
orchestration.
orchestra.
I want sort of voce and allegro. And I want to fly to the edge of the stratosphere and fall to earth. And you're going to make someone really happy, but it's not me. Mm-hmm. And it was like, holy shit, I've just ruined myself. Because now I can't go back to anything less than everything.
Yeah.
And everything walked into my life at 40 years old.
Wow.
Like that woman that just hit every single part of my intellect and my spirit and my humor and my creativity and my soul and that person walked into my life and completely broke my heart. And
Right away?
no, not right away. It took a while.
How long were you together?
We were together for like 6 months,
Okay.
but it wasn't the time; it was the intensity.
Yes, that makes sense.
Because we were talking 8 hours a day,
Yeah,
and
you
when we
were,
were
like,
talking
together
8 hours a day,
constantly.
we were fucking 8 hours a day.
So you were together 16 hours a day?
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk while you're having sex? They're mutually exclusive?
Depends on the sex. Depends on what you're doing. I mean, you talk through kinky stuff. You don't talk through fucking most of the time. At least you don't have like full conversations.
No, it's more directional. Like, lift your leg.
No. To the right. To the right. To the right. Ah, right there.
But the last conversation we ever had, she said to me, "You are everything. Everything I've ever wanted in a man. I don't know if I'm making the worst mistake of my life." And the only thing I could say to her was, "I hope you're making the best decision for both of us." And I was more broken than I'd ever been in my whole life.
Did she ever explain why?
She never explained why, but I knew why. The short version is her mom left her dad when she was young. So she had the opposite of an Oedipus complex. There's a term for it, and I can't think of it at the moment because rum.
Hey, good rum does that to you.
But her greatest fear was doing to her dad what her mom did to her dad. And when she realized she was falling with me, she became her mom and I became her dad.
Oh no.
And it was just, she couldn't break out of the cycle.
And then she ended up completing the cycle by breaking up with you.
Here's the crazy part. And again, I wrote a blog called Fucking in Brooklyn. This isn't anywhere in any of my great fucking stories. So the last day we ever spoke, what she didn't realize is that day I had gone to a stationery store and I bought fancy stationery with fancy envelopes. And I bought a deck of cards. And I bought a fountain pen with ink. She ends things. And the next day, I take out the deck of cards. I shuffle it. I pull one card. I look up online what the card means. And then I write her a letter. 52 cards. 52 letters. I write a letter a week for a year. She never responds.
Wow. Wow. So you wrote her longer than you dated her.
Yeah. I mean, we had known each other for years.
Okay.
But we, again, to make a long story short, when we met, MySpace was still a thing. Like it's
Wow.
that long ago.
Oh,
and she was living in Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And the sheik she was working for gave her a Rolex, which is chic for you about to be part of the harem, prepare yourself.
Yep.
So she did the only thing she could do, and she vanished. She left her life in Saudi Arabia behind and moved to Canada where she had family.
Mm-hmm.
And when she got to Canada, she started talking to me again. And I was like, we have this thing in North America called phones. We can talk on the phone.
Yeah, like it's a possibility.
And the first time we took the phone, we talked for like 14 hours. And it was like that. It was a complete connection of mind and soul and body. But when things ended with her, after the year of writing letters, I decided I was going to write about the progress as a human being from being the guy that got divorced to the guy that wanted to fuck a lot, to the guy that realized fucking a lot wasn't going to be enough for me, to the guy that found everything he wanted and lost it. Like it's a real narrative.
But also, you lost it through no fault of your own.
But you can lose things through no fault of your own.
Oh, of course. But it wasn't like you had done anything particularly wrong in the relationship, or that like the relationship had gone sour in any capacity. She was just terrified of her own.
But that's the thing that's hard to. Future. That's the thing that's hard to for people to accept. Because you can do everything right, and it can still go sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, love is hard. Love is hard, and it's such a truth that, you know, it's like going out and meeting a ton of people. That's the easy part. It's like finding the ones that really make you happy, really make you tick, that you can really connect with. It's like a lottery, right? I have
been to the edge of the stratosphere. I have made love with Valkyries. I have made love with the most. I mean, I've been extremely fortunate. I've had the most amazing woman in my life. But I reached a point where if I can't have everything, I'd rather have nothing.
Wow.
Thanks for checking out this clip from our show.
To watch more clips or full episodes, click on our profile below.
If you want to stay up to date on all of our new episodes and videos, click subscribe.
And if you have any ideas for future guests or topics that you would like to see us cover on the show,
leave us a message in the comments or connect with us on any of our social media channels at Funtime Program.
Or on our website at funtimeprogram.com.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.